Premium quality football shirts at an extremely affordable price. Sound good? If so, check out the sponsor of today's video, jerseyfifa.com. You can see that I've sent you some shirts and they really are top quality, so make sure to click the link in the description to go find a shirt for yourself or perhaps as a gift for someone else. And you can now use code jerseyfifa at checkout for 10% off your order. That's code jerseyfifa at checkout for 10% off your order. I really do recommend their product, so go take a look. Now let's get into the analysis. So Erik ten Hag has been confirmed as the next Manchester United manager, coming into effect as soon as the season ends. And I've already done a video looking at for the first 5 things he has to do at the club, so I'll link that video at the top of the screen now. But if you've already watched the video, then you'll know that I stated the need for a holding midfielder at the club to really help Ten Hag implement his playing style and philosophy at Manchester United, the way Alvarez has at Ajax. Now, if we look at the current Manchester United squad, to me it doesn't seem as though they have a player that is really capable of playing this role, certainly not as a regular starter, although they certainly still have a place in the squad as a backup option. But with that in mind, to me it seems pretty obvious that Manchester United are going to have to dip into the transfer market this summer in an attempt to find a new holding midfielder to really be at the heart of this new rebuild. Now, one player that has been quite heavily linked with a move over the past month or so is Kalvin Phillips. So as you can tell by the title, today we're going to be discussing whether or not this would be good business for Manchester United. So to do that, we're going to start by taking a look at a few of Kalvin Phillips' strengths and weaknesses as a player, and then we'll take a look at whether or not he has what it takes for the tactical role of a Ten Hag holding midfielder. So I'm sure that when I talk about Kalvin Phillips, the first thing that comes to your mind is his long passing ability, and rightly so, because when on form he is quite clearly one of the best long passers in the Premier League, with brilliant volume of accurate long balls. This is backed up when we look at his stats from last season, and there was actually a game when he completed 27 out of 29 long passes. Now that's impressive over a month, but to do it in one game is ridiculous. Thanks to this ability to sit deep and dictate, Kalvin Phillips has also received perhaps the biggest praise possible for a holding midfielder, and that was this quote from Pirlo, who named him as the only English regista ever. So what is a regista? Well, on this channel I tend to use the term deep lying playmaker instead, and essentially it's a player that holds position just in front of the defence, from where they really orchestrate the play with their passing ability. On top of this, Phillips is also very capable of moving slightly wider to get the ball from the fullback before then playing a long pass, and his combinations in these wider areas are actually one of his main strengths, again thanks to his long passing range. On top of this, Phillips is also very capable of taking the ball even in situations when he has much less time and space, and in these tight situations in his own third, he's comfortable taking the ball under pressure to get out of the press. Having played through the press, Phillips then has one pass in his locker which doesn't really get much attention, but it is still impressive, and it's his ability to play a subtle clipped pass out wide to stretch the play and attack the space. Whilst possessing this quality on the ball with his passing, the best side of Phillips' game is without doubt his ability and his contributions off the ball out of possession, and this is where he really excels for his team. But why do I say that? One of the best things about Kalvin Phillips out of possession is just simply his ridiculous stamina levels, and I'm not sure how many lungs he has, but he just never stops running and he covers an incredible amount of ground during a game. This was of course something that was really demanded of him from Bielsa at Leeds, particularly last season, but it basically means that Kalvin Phillips is equipped with the energy levels to play in almost any pressing system under any manager. Now, Phillips isn't just a passion merchant which just runs about, because he is also quite intelligent with his defending, and it makes him a brilliant player when it comes to tracking back to break up opposition counterattacks. This is backed up when we take a look at his FBref report, and in the defensive department we can see that he ranked ridiculously high when compared with every other central midfielder in Europe's top 5 leagues. The numbers are really class. So now we've seen what he has to offer as a player, but now it's time to take a look at him from a tactical point of view, and we need to try and figure out if he has what it takes to play as a holding midfielder for Erik ten Hag in his system. So one thing that we've seen at Ajax as the season has progressed is the holding midfielder dropping deep in between the centre backs, and this has essentially allowed Ajax to create a back 3 in possession with Alvarez getting a lot of the ball. Now, in this sense it is looking good for Kalvin Phillips from the start, because last season his main role in the Leeds team was to drop extremely deep, and at times he was literally playing as the third centre back for his side. This is something a lot of websites online have covered in the past, and we can see it in both of these pictures here, with Phillips dropping into this deep area, which allows him to get a lot more time on the ball with the ball at his feet. Now, as well as asking the holding midfielder to drop deep into defence to form a back three, we have also seen Ajax playing with extremely high and wide wingers, which means that they are nearly always a free passing option for the player on the ball. Now if we try and put this in at Manchester United with Kalvin Phillips, again it looks like a very good combination, thanks to Phillips' long passing ability that we were talking about earlier, and we could see more of those games where he completes 27 long passes. Now if we picture who the Manchester United wingers may be, the likes of Sancho and Antony would really excel receiving these long passes time and time again, with these switch passes allowing them to get at the fullback in a 1-versus-1. This would be a massive positive for Manchester United because this ability to switch to play quickly to get at a defender is something that we really don't see from the team very often, so this would be a massive step in the right direction. Now we also know that Manchester United will face spells of pressure in possession, and Ten Hag will want his team to keep their cool in these situations to play out from the back, and again, as we've already discussed, this is an area where Phillips is quite impressive. In these situations, the intelligence of the holding midfielder really is key, whether that's dropping deep to receive the pass under pressure, or using some smart movement to create space for another player to receive the pass. And as I said, and we've seen already, Phillips is happy to play this sort of role for his side. It looks perfect at the moment. However, the biggest judgment of Phillips will be what he does when the team is dominating possession, because Ten Hag's side will have the ball, but in these situations, Kalvin Phillips isn't exactly the most progressive passer in the world. Now normally this would put people off, but to be honest the situation is the same at Ajax with Edson Alvarez, because he is another player that is quite safe with his passing, so I do think it wouldn't be too much of an issue for Kalvin Phillips. With that in mind, Phillips could be used to really control the tempo for Ten Hag's side, regularly moving the ball from side to side to really help Manchester United take control of matches, something that we haven't seen in a long time. As well as being the heartbeat for the team in possession, Kalvin Phillips would also bring a lot to this Manchester United side out of possession, as we've discussed already, but again let's look at it from a more tactical point of view. So again we all think that it is more than likely that Ten Hag will want his side to press or counter press high up the pitch, to put the opposition under pressure, and as we've discussed already in this video, Kalvin Phillips is pretty perfect for that role. Again, this is absolutely vital to any Ten Hag setup because this ability to counter press would allow Manchester United to win the ball back high up the pitch to regain possession, once again taking control of the game with the ball at their feet. Now obviously this isn't always possible and at times teams will find their way out of the press, putting Manchester United at risk from the counter attack, but again the energy of Kalvin Phillips would be key to preventing this. Again, this is something that Manchester United lack at the moment, with both Fred and McTominay often failing to break up opposition attacks, and this is certainly an issue that Phillips would help solve with his ability to disrupt attacks. It's something that we've been seeing ever since Leeds got promoted to the Premier League, and we can see in scenarios like this that he has the ability to stop opposition counterattacks before they ever really get started. On top of this, Kalvin Phillips also has the ability to cover for his fullbacks or centre backs, and he has good awareness of when he is needed to drop in and defend in these wider areas, once again when looking to defend a counter-attack. Again, if we link this back to what we've seen on the channel in recent weeks, this is vital for an Erik Ten Hag side, because we know that his centre backs move forward with the ball at their feet, which means that there is this potential vulnerability, but Phillips can cover it. On top of all of this, Phillips is just a very good reader of the game and he's great at scanning a situation quickly, assessing the danger that is around him before then quickly stepping in to make the interception to once again regain possession for his side. In general, he is just a brilliant midfielder from a defensive point of view, because he has this incredible ability to spot dangerous situations before then using his energy to make his way across and disrupt the opposition attack. So that is pretty much all I want to cover today. We've taken a look at what he has to offer in and out of possession, whilst also taking a look at how he would fit into the sides tactically. So first, I just want to finish by quickly summarising a few things. Overall, I do think that Kalvin Phillips has a lot of traits that make him similar to Edson Alvarez. He has the awareness and ability to read the play and win the ball back, whilst also having much better mobility and passing range. Another positive for Kalvin Phillips is that he already has Premier League experience, and whilst it isn't completely essential, I do think that it's useful and it would allow him to adapt to the team quicker than other potential signings. Thanks to everything that we've spoken about in this video, I do think that Kalvin Phillips has the ability to really beat the heartbeat for this side, and he could be the pivot point that this Manchester United team needs to really build around. Now, for me, the one big question mark over Kalvin Phillips is the price tag, because we all know that English players cost a lot more than other players, whilst teams also know that they can demand more from United and they will cough up the money. But for the right price, I do think that this would be a good move, From a tactical point of view, he is a perfect Erik ten Hag player, but there is without doubt still question marks over his genuine quality and whether or not he is good enough. And for that very reason, I want to hear your thoughts in the comments down below, and I'm really interested to hear what you think Kalvin Phillips is worth in the current market and whether or not he's a good enough player to start for Manchester United. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.